I'm going to show you today's challenge, which is altered pockets and fragments. I've got a few things to show, and my box of ephemera is really getting full. And this is other ephemera that I've made over time, and storage area. Little spots around my desk to be able to reach, and these 3 books are the other altered books I've done, where you take your pages in the book and alter them. So let me put this up here, and see if we can get this set up right. Oh, sorry, I gotta readjust this. Okay. So it was altered pockets, and I thought, okay, this is a very old Reader's Digest book, the condensed book form, and I had altered the pages in it, was going to use it to put my ephemera in. Had little tags on the side saying what the things were. It was way too tiny. So they've been sitting here, and I've been starting to tear the pages out of them and make other types of pockets with them. So this one is challenge 25 for the month of December. And so I just took the pocket, sewed some more texture fragments on the side here, and these are all leftover fabrics from different sewing projects that I've done. And I did some stenciling on it. So each one of these, I put a moth with lace around it. I just did a mass making of a bunch of moths with one of the other challenges. And some of them have the pictures left on them because they're pretty interesting from the I think this was 1950, 1961. So the images are kind of interesting too. And this one I didn't put a moth on it, but it's got pockets here. So that was the altered pocket idea. And then this is my other altered pocket book, and it's a giant gator mouth. Let's see if I can get this to go back some. Oh, no, that's as far as it'll go. I've got it tabs on the side, so when I do my watercolor pictures that I want to put in journals, I can go find dragonflies or flowers. And this was a pretty cool book on flowering trees. And so then I just fold the pages and make pockets where I can add all kinds of things. Here's the mushrooms, one of the other challenges. Little pockets to add smaller pictures. But you get the idea. So I took 3 pages. I took some pages out, not necessarily here, but 3 pages and fold them in 3 different levels so they will be pockets. And they're pretty sturdy. I got a flip envelope in here. But mostly it is flowers that I've added in here. Some gemstones to it. Specimen cards. And I did start putting them in color coordinating. This is out of place, but it's with the, yeah. Anyway, a lot of pockets, a lot of artwork all the way through. So I wasn't real happy with the gator mouth of it. These are all dragonflies. And so I made another journal. And this one I did out of old blue jeans. And yes, my blue jeans were painted with all kinds of stuff on it. And it also has a file folder. I took this particular book totally apart and saved the signatures so I could sew each signature into this book. And then altered the pages, adding, what do you call it? Commercial papers. This is a wallpaper. This is part of the book itself. So the pockets and belly bands. But I did use a lot, well, this is an old magazine. A lot of these papers are commercial papers that I don't really particularly like using in my journals, but I'll use them in this kind of thing. Trying to use them up. So yeah, I still have a lot of drawings all through here in different categories. This is the grandmother tree, the big tree in my yard. This is the footprint of the tree. So yeah, I made some more, and this one's much better. I haven't really filled it much yet. Then, oh, to do with these texture, I had these belly bands or snippet rolls. Of course, I had to look at the title here, but they're on my shelf. And so I had made a new snippet roll with one of the challenges, which was a really wider and you used buttons. And so I was like, I need to use these up. So these are paper type ones here with just paper and a little bit of lace. And then most of these are fabric with other types of fabrics. So made that, came in handy to use for this challenge. And then this challenge is challenge 19, and it is flip out and pressed flowers gone wild. So this is the one I made, and I did a video on this too, to put in my journal. I'm making a nature journal as I go along, and each one of the mass makings we're doing with each challenge. So I made 6 of these. One of them goes in my nature journal, and I'll do a flip through of it. I've put these red tags on everything that's a challenge. We're up to 22 now. I've got to do 25. So this was called a flip out. I made 5 of them. I gave a couple for Christmas presents. So I just used old silk, sewed 2 different together to make a tie, and I think that goes really well with this grungy looking front. The front was crossword puzzles. I was really wanting to use crossword puzzles because my grandmother really liked crossword puzzles, and I just don't like them at all. But I've got a friend that does them. So I made faux rice paper, which is 3 layers of tissue, in which I used 1 layer of the crossword puzzle page from the newspaper. And it didn't turn out like I expected, but now that I found this to use it for on this cover, I really like it. I used really heavy-duty twine from the farm. I have a pretty good sized farm that I do vegetables and chickens, and well, family farm for me. So I put the twine in here, and it seemed way too thick and too cumbersome, but I really like it now as a cover. So I'm going to experiment with more of these little strings, maybe using a different type of string in there. But I want it to be a grid mark where it was cut through and open that way. So this is a flip, and it just flips like this, and there's pockets. This is a coffee dyed, eco dyed paper with coffee spray. this is the pressed flower part of the challenge. And this belly band was from one of the other challenges. And here's more pressed flowers. So I just put it on here like that. Another envelope, recycled envelope with a picture inside. Some more pressed flowers. Some places for writing. And this is a covered paper clip with a dangle on the top of it. Pressed pokeberries, and this is poke ink that I made from the pokeberries. I'm going to do more of that ink next summer. Another page, another pressed flower. So these are manila folders that I've recycled. Got a whole bunch of them that were used from somewhere. And then just spray oxide spray on them. I use the cards as a background as I work on spraying other things, and then this becomes a piece of artwork in itself. So I use them for background work, and I also use tissue, which is what I used this morning doing a bunch of sprays, and just let it sop up on these tissues. And the tissues I use in the faux rice paper designs. So that's the back of it. I put these metal edgings around the very edge. I like that touch. And then this just folds back and forth. And ties shut. So the back, and so it's got a dangle hanging down from that paper clip. The back is also a piece of lace laid on copy paper and sprayed with coffee and a little bit of antique linen oxide spray. And then I went ahead and put a label on here, but you can see these corners. I love the corners on it. But this is a heavy cardboard. That's one of them. Here's another. So I cut that sheet in half and made 2 covers with it. I spray oxided on it. Here's the pressed flowers. I added my mushrooms from that other challenge. A little Zentangle in here. So in my altered books, I have a whole section on Zentangles. And this is a spray oxide. I left a tape, what do you call it, painter's tape on here, so the spray oxide didn't go to the center. And this was a gel print. And then I added some ink pad edging to it. And this is a giant tree gel print. Some more gel prints with leaves, gel print of the city brick, ginkgo leaf gel print. Then this is gel print where I was sopping up the paint with scrap paper to leave the design on the plate that I wanted. And then I drew with chalk paint the bamboo, and I had a whole series of them in my altered books. This is another, I like little map looking things, so it's spray oxide and just added creeks and such to it. This is a gel print, and this is just coffee stained. And a gel print. I put a dragonfly in here. Another coffee stain. And a pocket. And then this is a gel print, and I just trimmed it out and put it in the middle of the back. So that's another flip out. And of course, I don't have it put back together right, but it'll work. I like the color coordination of it too. And this one I didn't bother to put the metal on the corners. In my third one that I've kept, one of these is going in my journal, but the other 3 will go into the fodder of whatever I'm going to use it for. Here's another altered envelope. I think it was called altered envelope. Altered pocket. So this is a pocket from the National Geographic, and I just added more decoration to it. And there's this little bag has a pocket hole too. It goes in that upcycled envelope that I gel printed on. This is commercial paper. I rarely use commercial paper, but I did love the design. But I didn't like the design on the inside, so I painted over it to mute it out some. So I have little pockets in here. And this is also a paper clip, covered paper clip. So it has a little pocket thing here with a pressed flower, and it just slips on. And I left the paper clip, cut a hole for the paper clip to come through, and then I added the dangle there. And on this page, I added a little bit of a scrap journal. Used commercial paper, but I cut out some glitter to add to that. Another pocket with assorted ephemera tucked in. And this is a flap that can be used to add decoration to it. I used the hinge network here, and I cut some of this edge off and used it for the hinges. Added lace to the top of that page. It's a book binding. I saved the book bindings. And this is my little box of book bindings. And so then I add little tags and laces to them. Little miniature book, rubber stamped butterfly. And then that's what's in here. Just a book that I've ripped pages out of, and this is the hinge part of the book. And then actually it was thicker than this, so I took a razor blade and cut it. And then you soak it, wet it down, spray it with oxide spray, and tousle it up, make it messy. So it's just torn pages. This is probably the Carillion medical book they send you, telling you about all their wonderful services. But yeah, it's full of stuff, and then I can add alterations to them, like these tiny little doodads. And they kind of look cute on the top of the book. Put that out of the way. And this, yeah, is the collage I made there. I think I just tucked something in there. Another gel print, another pocket here. On this pocket, yeah, I added this little booklet. Oh, and there's a pocket in the top. So this is one of the ephemera pieces we made in the mass making project. And there's some string. Our next challenge is cluster and tangled thread. So this is a little bunch of tangled thread on the edge of the snack bag that I had, and a gel print on it. The tangled thread, that's actually from my feed sack for the chickens. And every time it comes off, it's all crinkly, and I'm like, I kind of like that. I've dyed it and used it in a couple places. A little pocket, some handmade paper, and the last page. These are just gel prints that are random, not like a project that I was trying to make. It was just random papers that were scrap. But I like the look of them. So that's the third one, or 5 that I've made. And it just flips back and forth. I want that and flip that way so it blends in. And I need to move this over. I don't want it right up at the front. So I wanted this one to have a little more stuff sticking out the top. I want to do a little bit more of that, of adding things to the top. So that's it for today. I'm going to get back to doing some artwork and drink my hot chocolate. Y'all have a good day.